How to ask questions. Documentation is a good way to solve problems on your own. Rather than asking someone else a question, documentation allows you to answer the question on your own by researching the tools you are using. Documentation is like an instruction manual for programmers. Everything related to programming is documented in some way. Documentation teaches us how a language or API works. API is an application programming interface. That means that someone else has written code that lets you interact with someone else's work. For example, the robots we built this year use an API to interact with the brain of the robot. It allows us to turn the motors or read sensors without dealing with complicated binary data. Without these instructions, it would be impossible for us to know how to code the robots. Because we have these instructions, we are able to figure out what exactly we need to write to control our robots. APIs are used for many different things, and this was just one example. Stack Overflow is a great place to look for answers because someone has probably had the same or similar question, and the site is made specifically for coding. Programmers browse the page looking for questions that they have the answers to. So, if you have a question, it will get answered in a short amount of time. Eventually, you might even become one of the people answering questions. Stack Overflow is a great website that has trustworthy information and great answers because it's full of coders looking for answers. Remember that Stack Overflow is not your only option. There are plenty of other forums and community discussions that can help you along the way. Asking people you know will often be the best option. By asking someone you know, they can understand the problem better, ask you questions, learn the context of the problem, and more that someone on the internet won't be able to do. Asking peers and teachers will also present you with general knowledge. Oftentimes, problems arise when we don't choose the best solution, and our peers and teachers can show us a better way to approach the problem. Additionally, asking your peers will help them get better at problem solving. Similarly, helping your peers with their problems will improve your problem solving skills as well. Asking questions is often the only way to overcome challenges. If you fail to ask the question, you are likely giving up on the problem. Unless you put in the effort to figure out the issue, you will never become a better programmer. Additionally, looking for answers will expose you to new ways to look at a problem. Sometimes a problem is simple enough for you to solve on your own, but your solution won't always be the best solution. Asking questions will give you many different options to choose from, and you can learn the differences, the pros and cons, of each option. Over time, the ideas you pick up from asking questions will build up until you find yourself relying less and less on Google. Remember that questions will never hurt you. Even if the question is super simple, you will learn from that silly mistake and probably won't make it again. You might be embarrassed hearing the answer in the moment, but you'll never have that problem again. Everyone has to ask questions. Professional developers spend a lot of time on Google, and many have even researched and practiced better ways to search Google because of how often they use it. A lot of the time, no one even has to know that you were stuck. If you Google a question and find the answer somewhere online, no one can tell that you needed help. Consider these sites like the one kid that asked the one question that everyone else was too afraid to ask. You might never have to raise your hand because there are so many other people who have the same question as you. And in the rare case that you do, the programming community is very helpful.